but I
Mhm.
have to start off with a question from one of my followers. What the heck is a Liberty pole?
Yeah, it's my most commonly asked question, and it's a very fair question. So Liberty poles were essentially really tall flagpoles, tall wooden masts with flags and signs that would have political messages. So they're first raised during the Imperial Crisis, American Revolution, and they say things like "No taxation without representation," "Downfall to tyrants," things like that. But when we get into the 1790s, which, as you kind of mentioned, is the heart of the book, now they're not aimed at obviously British Parliament and the British monarchy. They're aimed at the American government, and they'll say things like no stamp tax, no direct tax, no alien and sedition laws, no whiskey tax. Um, and so they become a way for early American protesters to kind of signal their opposition to particular pieces of legislation in the 1790s. And so they become a kind of rallying point for kind of popular mobilization, but they're contested symbols as well. And so there are other folks, sometimes neighbors in the same community, who will tear down those liberty poles.
Hmm. So, how are these things found, put up, or are they done the dead of night when people aren't watching? Are they done in the middle of the day? How are these things put into place to make a statement?
Yeah. So most often they are put up in a very kind of public, celebratory way. Lots of folks will come together. They'll raise the pole together. They'll decorate it together. They'll, drink toasts to the Liberty Pole and their various causes. They'll have kind of like a little party. And often these poles are raised in like the town square or in front of the local tavern. So kind of community public space. Now, when they're torn down, it can kind of go one of two ways. Sometimes there's like a counter celebration where it is a kind of public demonstration to tear down the poles, but sometimes it's done, as you say, in the dead of night, or sometimes it's done sort of more violently, more in this sort of kind of intimidate, where people are trying to intimidate the poll raisers. So there's kind of weapons drawn, there's a lot of violent rhetoric, sometimes some actual violence. And sometimes it's not just about toppling the pole, it's about completely destroying it. So sometimes these pole topplers, we can call them, will chop up the pole and set fire to it. Sometimes they will bury it. Um, so there's kind of like a ritualistic inversion in a lot of cases where there is this kind of like celebration and ritual and kind of street theater involved in raising the pole. And then there's often a kind of mirror image or some kind of inversion of that in destroying it.